They flew my sister to Paris for her birthday. Mine, a text, a leftover cake, and silence. After spending $4,000 on her perfect celebration, they forgot mine completely, then went out to dinner without me. That night I vanished, no goodbyes. Just a one-way flight and the sweet silence of choosing myself over them. Hey viewers, welcome to the channel. We are just starting and your support means a lot. If you enjoy these stories, please consider subscribing and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. My name is David, I'm 28 years old, and I'm about to tell you the most painful story of my life, how my own family chose my sister over me on what should have been the most important day of my year, and how I made sure they understood exactly what that choice cost them. It all started 6 months ago when I landed my dream job as a marketing director at a tech startup in San Francisco. After years of struggling as a freelance graphic designer, barely making ends meet, I finally had a stable income, benefits, and a future I could be proud of. The salary was more than I'd ever imagined making, and for the first time in my adult life, I felt like I could actually contribute to my family in a meaningful way. My sister Rebecca, who's 25, has always been the golden child in our family. She's beautiful, charismatic, and has this way of making everyone around her feel like they're the most important person in the world when she wants something from them. Our parents, Linda, who's 52, and Thomas, who's 55, have been funding Rebecca's lifestyle for years without question. Art school in New York, rent for her overpriced apartment in Brooklyn, credit card payments when she overspends on designer clothes and fancy restaurants. I've probably spent close to $200,000 on her since she turned 18, and she's never once said thank you or shown any appreciation for their sacrifices. Meanwhile, I worked 3 jobs to pay for community college, saved every penny to transfer to a 4-year university, and graduated with student loans that I've been paying off for 6 years. When I was struggling to make rent, eating ramen noodles for weeks at a time, my parents would say things like, "David's so independent, he doesn't need our help like Rebecca does." They mistook my pride and determination for not needing support, while Rebecca's constant demands were seen as endearing neediness. But when I got this new job, I thought things might finally change. I thought maybe now that I was successful, my parents would see me as worthy of the same attention and celebration they'd always given Rebecca. I was wrong, but I didn't know that yet. Rebecca's birthday is March 15th, and mine is March 22nd, exactly 1 week apart. Growing up, this was always a source of tension because Rebecca would demand elaborate celebrations that would drain our parents' energy and budget, leaving my birthday feeling like an afterthought. When we were kids, Rebecca would have themed parties with hired entertainers, custom cakes, and guest lists of 30 people. I'd get a small cake from the grocery store and maybe dinner at a chain restaurant if I was lucky. As adults, the pattern continued. Last year, Rebecca's 24th birthday was celebrated with a weekend trip to Napa Valley that cost my parents nearly $3,000. My 27th birthday was acknowledged with a text message and a $25 gift card to Target. This year, I decided things were going to be different. With my new job and financial stability, I wanted to do something special for both Rebecca and myself. I planned to surprise her with an amazing birthday celebration, and then hoped my parents would reciprocate with something meaningful for my birthday the following week. I started planning Rebecca's party 2 months in advance. I booked a private dining room at one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city, hired a professional photographer to capture the evening, arranged for a custom birthday cake from a high-end bakery, and even coordinated with a jewelry store to have a beautiful necklace delivered during dessert. Total cost was going to be around $4,000, but I didn't care. I wanted to show my family that I was successful, generous, and worthy of their love and respect. I invited our parents, Rebecca's boyfriend Marcus, who's 26, our Aunt Julie, who's 48, our Uncle Steve, who's 50, and Rebecca's 3 closest friends, Amanda, 24, Sophie, 25, and Grace, 26. It was going to be intimate but elegant, the kind of celebration Rebecca had always dreamed of but never actually received, despite all the money our parents had spent on her over the years. The party was everything I'd hoped it would be. Rebecca looked stunning in a black cocktail dress, and when she walked into the private dining room and saw the decorations, the professional photographer, the elaborate floral arrangements, she actually started crying. Happy tears for once, instead of the manipulative tears she usually used to get what she wanted. "David, I can't believe you did all this for me," she said, hugging me tighter than she had since we were children. "This is the most beautiful thing anyone has ever done for me." Our parents were impressed too. Mom kept taking pictures with her phone, posting them on social media with captions about what a wonderful son she had. Dad pulled me aside during cocktail hour and told me he was proud of the man I'd become, that he'd always known I was destined for great things. The dinner was perfect. Food was incredible, the wine was flowing, and everyone was having an amazing time. Rebecca gave a speech about how grateful she was to have such a thoughtful brother and how this was the best birthday she'd ever had. When the custom cake was brought out, a three-tier masterpiece decorated with edible gold leaf and fresh flowers, everyone applauded. But the real showstopper was the necklace. I'd worked with the jewelry store to time the delivery perfectly, right as we were finishing dessert. When the elegantly dressed sales associate walked in carrying the signature blue box, Rebecca's eyes went wide. "David, you didn't," she whispered, but I could see the excitement in her face. The necklace was a delicate white gold chain with a pendant featuring her birthstone surrounded by tiny diamonds. It cost me $1,500, more than I'd ever spent on a single gift for anyone, but seeing Rebecca's face when she opened that box made every penny worth it. She put it on immediately and spent the rest of the evening showing it off to everyone, taking selfies, and telling anyone who would listen about her amazing brother who had given her the most perfect birthday celebration imaginable. I felt like I was finally part of the family in a way I'd never been before. My parents were beaming with pride, Rebecca was genuinely grateful, and everyone kept telling me what an incredible brother I was. I went home that night feeling like I'd finally cracked the code, like I'd found the key to earning the love and respect I'd been craving my entire life. My birthday was the following Tuesday. I didn't expect anything as elaborate as what I'd done for Rebecca. I knew that would be unrealistic, but I thought maybe they'd take me to a nice restaurant or plan a small gathering with family. I thought the gesture I'd made for Rebecca would be reciprocated in some way, even if it was on a smaller scale. Instead, I got a text message from Mom at 2:47 p.m. that said, "Happy birthday, honey. Hope you have a wonderful day." That was it. No phone call, no invitation to dinner, no mention of getting together to celebrate. Just a text message sent in the middle of the afternoon like an afterthought. I waited until evening, thinking maybe they were planning a surprise or maybe they'd call to invite me over for cake, but my phone stayed silent. Around 8 p.m. I finally broke down and called Mom. "Hi, sweetie," she answered, sounding distracted. "How was your birthday?" "It was fine," I said, trying to keep the hurt out of my voice. "I was wondering if you guys wanted to do something to celebrate." "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry," Mom said, and I could hear her moving around in the background, doing dishes or laundry or something more important than talking to me. Rebecca's been having such a hard time this week adjusting to her new apartment, and she needed help moving some furniture around. We spent the whole day helping her get settled. Rebecca had moved to a new apartment, the previous weekend a more expensive place in a trendier neighborhood that our parents were undoubtedly helping to fund. But she'd been perfectly capable of handling her own furniture arrangements when I'd seen her at her birthday party just 6 days earlier. "Maybe we could do something this weekend," I suggested, hating how desperate I sounded. "Well, Rebecca's having a housewarming party on Saturday, and Sunday we promised to help her pick out some new furniture for her bedroom. Maybe next weekend?" "Next weekend. My birthday would be over a week old by then, just another day on the calendar." "Never mind," I said. "It's not a big deal." "You're so understanding, David. Rebecca's just been so stressed with the move, and you know how she gets when she's overwhelmed." I hung up feeling like I'd been punched in the stomach. I'd spent $4,000 making sure Rebecca had the perfect birthday celebration, and my parents couldn't even spare 2 hours to take me to dinner for mine. But it got worse. The next day, I was scrolling through social media when I saw a post from Rebecca on her Instagram story. It was a photo of her wearing the necklace I'd given her, standing in what looked like a very expensive restaurant with our parents and Marcus. The caption reads, "Celebrating my amazing week with my favorite people, so grateful for family who always show up for me." They'd gone out to dinner, on my birthday, without me. I stared at that photo for a long time, feeling something cold and hard settle in my chest. Hadn't forgotten about my birthday, they'd actively chosen to celebrate with Rebecca instead. They'd made a conscious decision that her happiness was more important than acknowledging my existence. That's when I realized that no matter what I did, no matter how successful I became or how generous I was, I would never be more than an afterthought to my family. Rebecca would always come first, and I would always be the one expected to understand, to be flexible, to put everyone else's needs before my own. So I decided to stop trying. I didn't call or text any of them for the rest of the week. When Mom finally called me the following Sunday, asking why I'd been so quiet, I told her I'd been busy with work. She seemed satisfied with that explanation and moved on to talking about Rebecca's new apartment and how well she was adjusting to her new neighborhood. 2 weeks later, Rebecca called me in tears. She'd been fired from her part-time job at an art gallery, something about showing up late too many times and spending too much time on her phone instead of helping customers. She was panicking about how she was going to make rent on her expensive new apartment. "David, I don't know what to do," she sobbed into the phone. "Mom and Dad are already paying for so much, I can't ask them for more help. I thought maybe, since you're doing so well with your new job, maybe you could help me out just this once." Just this once. Like I hadn't already spent $4,000 on her birthday party just a month earlier. "How much do you need?" I asked, already knowing I wasn't going to give her a penny. "Just $1,500 to cover rent this month and maybe another $1,000 for utilities and groceries until I find another job. I promise I'll pay you back as soon as I can." $2,500. More than most people make in a month, and she was asking for it like it was pocket change. Rebecca, I said carefully, do you remember what you did for my birthday? There was a long pause. What do you mean? My birthday, March 22nd, 1 week after your birthday party. Do you remember what you did to celebrate with me? Another pause, longer this time. David, I'm sorry, things have been so crazy with the move and everything. You forgot, I said. It wasn't a question. No, I didn't forget, the timing was really bad with everything going on. Rebecca, you forgot my birthday. You all forgot. Mom and Dad took you out to dinner that night instead of calling me. You posted about it on Instagram. David, I'm really sorry, but I'm kind of in crisis mode right here. Can we talk about this later? I really need to know if you can help me with the rent. She was asking me for money in the same breath as dismissing my hurt feelings about being forgotten on my birthday. The audacity was breathtaking. No, I said simply. No. No, I can't help you with rent. I suggest you call Mom and Dad since they're the ones who always show up for you. David, please, I'm desperate. I'll do anything. Anything? Yes, anything. Acknowledge that you forgot my birthday. Acknowledge that you and Mom and Dad went out to dinner that night without me. Acknowledge that I spent $4,000 on your birthday party and got a text message in return. David, this isn't the time for. Those are my terms, Rebecca. You want my help, you acknowledge what happened. She hung up on me. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. It was Mom. David, Rebecca told me you're refusing to help her with rent. What's gotten into you? Did she tell you why I'm refusing? She said you're upset about some birthday thing, but honey, you're an adult. You can't expect everyone to make a big fuss over your birthday like you're still a child. A big fuss? Mom, you sent me a text message, one text message, while you were out to dinner with Rebecca. We weren't out to dinner, we were helping her move furniture. I saw the Instagram post, Mom. You were at a restaurant. Silence. Look, Rebecca needed our support during a difficult time. You're established in your career, you're doing well financially, you don't need the same kind of help she does. You're right, I said. I don't need the same kind of help she does. I don't need your help at all. David, don't be dramatic. I'm not being dramatic, I'm being realistic. You've made it very clear where your priorities lie, and I've made peace with that. Don't expect me to fund Rebecca's lifestyle when you can't even be bothered to acknowledge my existence. That's not fair. What's not fair is spending $4,000 on someone's birthday party and getting a text message in return. What's not fair is being treated like I'm selfish for wanting my own family to care about me. What's not fair is being expected to bail Rebecca out of every problem she creates while being ignored when I need support. Fine, Mom said, her voice getting sharp. Be selfish, but don't come crying to us when you realize that money can't buy you happiness. She hung up. Dad called an hour later. Son, your mother told me about the conversation you had. I think you're being a little hard on everyone. Dad, do you remember what you did for my birthday? Of course I remember your birthday. What did you do for it? Silence. Dad, look, David, we've been going through a tough time financially. Rebecca's been struggling and we've been trying to help her get back on her feet. We thought you'd understand. I do understand. I understand that Rebecca will always come first no matter what. I understand that I'm only valuable to this family when I'm giving you something, and I understand that I'm done. Done with what? Done pretending that this is a normal family dynamic. Done pretending that it's okay for you to ignore me while expecting me to support Rebecca. Done being the one who always has to understand and be flexible and put everyone else first. David, you don't mean that. I do mean it. I'm done, Dad. I'm done with all of it. That was 3 months ago. I haven't spoken to any of them since. Rebecca lost her apartment and had to move back in with our parents. She's been posting increasingly desperate messages on social media about how hard it is to find work in her field and how unfair life is. Our parents have been covering all her expenses, which I know is putting a strain on their retirement savings. Mom has called me 6 times, leaving voicemails that start out demanding I help Rebecca and end with her crying about how I'm tearing the family apart. Dad has sent several texts asking me to reconsider, saying that family is more important than money. But they still haven't acknowledged what they did. They still haven't apologized for forgetting my birthday or for treating me like I'm only valuable when I'm useful to them. Last week, I got a text from Rebecca. It was a photo of the necklace I'd given her, sitting in what looked like a pawn shop display case. The message said, "Had to sell this to help with expenses. Hope you're happy." I stared at that photo for a long time. The necklace that had cost me $1,500, that I'd chosen so carefully, that had made her cry happy tears when she opened it. She'd sold it for probably 1/10 of what I'd paid, and she'd sent me the photo to make me feel guilty. But I didn't feel guilty. I felt free. I realized that Rebecca had done me a favor. She'd shown me exactly what my gestures meant to her, exactly how much she valued my love and generosity. She'd taken something I'd given her out of love and turned it into a weapon to manipulate me. I deleted the photo without responding. Yesterday was Rebecca's 26th birthday. I saw the posts on social media, a small dinner at home with our parents, a grocery store cake, a few generic gifts. Nothing like the elaborate celebration I'd given her the year before. Nobody called to ask why I wasn't there. Nobody reached out to tell me I was missed. I spent the evening at a wine bar with my coworkers, people who actually appreciate my presence and don't take my kindness for granted. We talked about our upcoming projects, our weekend plans, our hopes for the future. Normal conversations with people who see me as more than a walking ATM. My birthday is next week. I've planned a trip to Hawaii for myself, something I've always wanted to do but never felt like I could afford when I was constantly bailing out my family. I'll be lying on a beach, drinking cocktails, and celebrating the fact that I finally learned to put myself first. I don't expect to hear from any of them. And that's exactly how I want it. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, it's just removing yourself from the equation and letting people face the consequences of their choices. My family chose Rebecca over me, repeatedly and consistently, and now they get to live with that choice. I choose myself.